Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. Behind me, 2018 Yukon. We're gonna be changing the transmission fluid and filter. This does require one special tool for filling it back up, but it doesn't cost too much. Other than that, it should be pretty straightforward. So let's crawl under. Just so you can see how I have it, I'll roll up stands in the front and then jack stands in the back, and we are pretty close to level. Actually, the back can come down just a smidge, but man, this is close enough. And that gives me plenty of room to crawl under and drop the pan. Underneath the vehicle in the front on the driver's side, we have our check plug. According to the manual, this is also our fill plug, and that's what that special tool is for. It's a special adapter that you can put in there and get a hose on it so we can pump the fluid through the bottom. Kind of an interesting design. I tried looking elsewhere for any kind of plug, any kind of fill, but I can't find it, and that's the only thing that the manual mentions is through our check plug. So what we're gonna do, crack that loose first, take it out, and just double check that our special tool will fit. So I have a catch pan underneath, pop this off, it's a 10 millimeter. Some fluid may come out. All right, just a little. Let me get my adapter, it looks like this. So it has the same threads on the end, it's hollow, and then you can put your hose on the other side. Let's just make sure it's the right threads. Awesome. Okay, so that is how we fill it. So let's take this back out. That's all we needed to do. We'll put this back in. Would be nice if that was a drain plug too, but that's all right. I'm just gonna snug this down. There we go. Another possibility the manual mentioned is needing to drop our exhaust down to get clearance. The way this is here, it's kind of squished. It might give us enough space as is, but if needed, of course, we'll follow the manual and drop the exhaust. Let's pull off our perimeter bolts, 10 millimeter. I moved you a little to make room for my catch pan. To get this bolt in between our cooler hoses, I'm using a 1/4 inch. That'll fit right in there. There. Once you crack it loose, get the rest of it by hand. There we go, got it. The other two where a 1/4 inch will come in handy is right above the exhaust. Again, once you crack it loose, they spin out pretty nicely by hand. At least mine do. Nice, got that one. We'll get this last hard one and then the rest are pretty easy. There it is. Just gonna reposition my catch pan. There we go, starting to drip. Last bolt, I'm gonna hold on to the pan. There we go, it's resting on the exhaust. Very carefully. Looks like I'm gonna have to pop out my cooler lines. There's a little retainer bracket right here because I need it to go forward. And I can't because the lines are in the way. Maybe I can just twist it a little. No, they need to be moved maybe like an inch. So no problem, let me get a screwdriver. Let me see if they'll just pop out. It's really just this front one. Yeah, let me get a little screwdriver. There we go. Not sure if that really helped. Yep, there we go. Okay, we still got lots of fluid in our pan, but now we're gonna slide it forward. Get this fluid out, slowly drip it. Whoop, whoop, whoop. So it's because of the filter, we have to lower our exhaust just a little. I can see it, but maybe not. Hold on. If we just, oh yeah, it's coming. There. Woo, we did it. Our filter is held on by 2 8 millimeter bolts. Nice and long. Hold on to it. That's a short one. All right, now more fluid will gush out. Just be aware of that. Oh, not too bad. Some transmissions really gush. So we'll just drain this out. Set it in our catch pan. We want to make sure the seal comes out. This looks like it's just bare metal. So no seal inside. We'll get the new filter. And then we're gonna lubricate our new seal. Just get some of this transmission fluid. You can use new transmission fluid if you like, doesn't matter. It's just a lubricant for this to go in. You slide it in. There we go, till the bolt holes line up. So the long one is on the passenger side, and then the short one's on the other. Just really gotta make sure your filter's lined up. It's kind of an odd angle with that slanted neck like that. So we'll tighten this down. According to my manual, the longer bolt is 93 inch-pounds. And the smaller bolt is 80 inch-pounds. Nice, now we'll just wipe off our mating surface for our gasket. Shouldn't take any scraper, just a nice clean rag. We'll wipe it all down. We'll get the exhaust better before we start it up and check the fluid. All right, let's crawl out and prep the pan. So there's not a lot to the pan, just need a bunch of clean rags. We'll pop this off. Now these gaskets are reusable, so you just have to inspect it. If it looks good, then we can go ahead and reuse it. But if you need it replaced, then of course, go ahead and replace it. I'm just gonna clean this off really well so we can inspect it, and then it'll be clean to reuse it. Now we'll take out our magnets, and we'll give them a good wipe down. Now a little bit of silvery gray material is okay. We just don't want any chunks. So just this kind of, I guess it's powder, and then it turns into like a sludge with the liquid. Not a big deal. It's perfectly okay. Do the other one. Let's get all the fuzzies off. And we'll wipe out the pan. Soak up all this fluid. We'll go around the perimeter and just get that mating surface. Get it all nice and clean. Again, we don't need any scrapers, no power tools, no abrasives, just a rag is all you need. Finish cleaning this out. And then I'll blow it with an air gun just to make sure that any fine particles and stuff are all blown away. We want it as clean as possible, but of course, there is a filter. So if one little tiny piece is left behind, it's not a big deal. We'll just do our best. One more rag for good measure. That looks pretty good. Put our magnets back. Put our gasket back on. Those two little dowels on the corners kind of hold it in place. By golly, we're ready. Let's go back under, we'll install it. Because the transmission pan barely squeezed out, I went ahead, got a tie-down strap, wrapped around the exhaust and the cross member, and squeezed them together. Hopefully that gives me, all we need is about 1/8 of an inch, and I think it'll just slip right in nice and smooth. If this works the way I hope it does, then I recommend doing this for pan removal as well. Let's give it a shot. All right, the back goes in first and kind of at an angle. There's an electrical connector over here. We want to start that first. Just at an angle, bring it around. Nice. That ratchet strap, that was the trick. Bring this all the way up. We just need to get it over our cooler lines. There we go. Bring it forward. Okay, now, before we bring it up, let's just make sure our gasket is still lined up. Mine popped out just a little. There we go. It's still lined up in the back. It was just the front popped out. Get a couple bolts ready. Put it up. Get them started. Once we get a couple started, we can give our muscles a break. Nice. Now we'll just get them all finger started first, and then we'll torque them down. We can also move our catch pan now that nothing else is dripping. This one above our cooler lines is a little tricky. There we go. Just take a little patience for that one. And then these above the exhaust aren't too bad. Our bolts are torqued to 89 inch-pounds. You won't be able to torque above the exhaust, but you can just estimate. There is a torque sequence. I'll throw that on the screen. We'll put our cooler line back in. It should snap right into place, but if you need, you can use a screwdriver. There we go. Remove our ratchet strap. Now we can wipe everything down really good. Make it shiny. I'm gonna use a fresh rag and some brake clean for the exhaust. That'll get the bulk of it. Now I'm gonna pour my catch pan in a container and measure how much came out. So this is my setup. I have a bottle with a fluid pump. That'll do most of the work. We got our special tool that screws in, and then 3/8 hose will be our adapter, because this right here is a little too fat for the end of this hose, but the diameter of this and the diameter of the hose are the same. So 3/8, it'll slip over the top of this and slip over the top of that and make a nice little coupler. When I measured how much fluid came out, I got just over 5 quarts. So I'm thinking if I factor in how much might still be left in the filter, a little bit of spillage, I'm gonna start by putting in 6 quarts. Hopefully that'll be a pretty good ballpark. So let's crawl under, start pumping away. Put our hose on. I'm gonna make it long enough so I can leave my pump and bottle on the ground. So maybe something like that should work. And snip it. Connect the hose. Slips on. All right, start pumping away. All right, there's one full bottle. Let's see how swapping bottles goes. Set that down. Well, not too bad. Not messy at all. Now it is important that this fluid is rated ULV. That's ultra low viscosity. It doesn't take regular Mercon or Dextron, but it's special ULV. All right. That is all 6 quarts. So we're gonna leave our system attached. We'll go inside the vehicle and start it up. The most important part is we want our transmission fluid at the right temperature, somewhere between 203 degrees and 212 degrees. Right here, our gauge has a 210 degrees. That would be pretty perfect if we're somewhere around that. It's important to note that these transmissions have an internal temperature switch. So we have to get above 212 degrees for that switch to open, and then we'll let it drop back into our range. So above 212 initially. First, we'll just slide it through the gears for about 3 seconds each. So foot on the brake, reverse, 1 Mississippi, 2, 3. Doesn't have to be precise, just go through the gears one at a time. Back up. Now the fastest way to get our temperature up is to power brake it. So we'll put our foot on the brake, put it in drive, foot on the brake, and we'll raise the RPM to 1500. We don't want to go too much more than 15, so right at 15. Hold it there for 10 seconds. Just count to 10. Something like that, and then we'll let it rest for 10 seconds. Then we'll bring it back up for 10. Let it rest for 10, and we'll just keep doing that until our transmission fluid gets above operating temperature, so above 212. Then we'll just let it idle until that temperature gauge is in our check range. Then we'll hop back under with the vehicle still running in park. All right, I've been doing it for a little while. We're getting very close. So I couldn't get the gauge to go higher than 210 degrees, so I started questioning its accuracy. I pulled out the scan tool. Right now it is 203 degrees. So let's go ahead, keep power braking it 10 seconds at a time. We want to watch the scan tool now. Now 203 degrees is within window, so not worried about that, but I want to make sure we are above 212 degrees for that switch. That's what I want to 100% make sure. We're almost there, 210 degrees. There's 212, we want it to go above. There we go. Let's just go a smidge higher. There, 215. That's pretty good. And the gauge here is still 210 degrees. So it's not precise as a scan tool, but I think you can ballpark it. If you go to your 210 degrees and then raise the RPM, lower the RPM a couple extra times, then you'll be above. Now we're 221, 219 it just hopped from. We want it to come back down within our window between 203 and 212 degrees. So we'll just let it idle for a little while. Let me put it in park. We don't want it to be too hot when we check our fluid because the fluid expands as it heats up. So if it expands too much and we check the fluid, then we've actually underfilled it because more fluid came out than what would have if we were in our window. So we'll just let this idle for a little while. Same is true if we don't reach temperature. So if it's colder than it should be, then the fluid hasn't expanded enough, so not as much will come out as it should have, and so it'll be overfull. So that's why it's important to be within our window while we check this. So I'll let this cool off camera, and I'll see you underneath. So I brought my scan tool down with me just so you can see we are 210 degrees, nice within our window. Let's move this, we get a catch pan underneath. Just to reiterate, we are running in park while we check. Also keep in mind that the temperature is above 200 degrees in the fluid. So that's enough to not feel good if you get some on you. Also keep in mind the exhaust is really hot when you're under here. We're gonna leave the hose attached. We're just gonna disconnect it from down here. It's not very hot right here. Now, if fluid comes out, we'll just let it drain until it comes to a drip. If no fluid comes out, then we need to grab another bottle and keep filling. Now, of course, a little bit of fluid will come out because our hose is full. There we go. So that's more than a hose amount. So that's good. I think 6 quarts was the right number. And we'll just let this drain until it starts to drip. Hose is starting to heat up, get warm. All right. Looks like it's coming to the end. There we go, starting to drip. Now we'll take our tool out. Again, careful, it's gonna be hot. We'll install our plug. If you're curious about the torque, it is 80 inch-pounds. So just snug. All right. Nice, give it a final wipe. Wipe everywhere. Looks good, double check for any leaks, and we're done. All right, there you go. That's how you can change the transmission fluid and filter. 2 pro tips. The ratchet strap on the exhaust is awesome. So whoever came up with that, thank you very much. Just makes getting that pan out and back in so much easier, and you don't have to drop the exhaust like the manual says. So win-win. Second, using a scan tool is much more accurate in finding that transmission temperature. Now, if you don't have a scan tool and you want to just stick with the gauge, then what I recommend is once you get to 210 degrees, go ahead and keep doing the RPMs up to 1500 for 10 seconds, back down, back up, maybe 5 to 10 more times, just to make sure we are above that 212 degree threshold. But because you don't know how hot it actually is, I would recommend just letting it sit and idle for at least 5 to 10 minutes for it to come back down, and it seems to rest right within fluid temperature range for us to check it. So scan tools preferred. The gauge, you just have to finesse it a little and do your best. And that's it. I'll have links in the description for all the parts and tools used. If you have any questions, comment, post down below. We'll see you on the next one.